My beautiful, gorgeous family, it is your sister from another Mr. Thick Chick Blogs, and as you can see, we are in the car. But I have a little bit of a nugget to give to one of my Facebook friends, one of my Facebook family members. A couple of people wanted to know some advice on what to do when you're moving out of the house on your own for the very first time, because I've mentioned several times that I have been living on my own since I was like 18 years old. Okay, well, no, I wasn't 18. I was like 19, 20. I was like 19 or 20 or something like that. And I am almost 30. So they wanted to know what steps did I take to move out on my own, etc., etc. Okay, I'm going to say some things that I know a lot of people are probably not going to want to hear. Okay, I know a lot of people, you know, you get 18, 19, and the first thing that you think to yourself, okay, I need to get the fuck out of my mama's house. Everybody's like that. Every single person is like that. Everybody want to be, well, I'm not going to say everybody, because you got some people that are just mama's girls and mama's boys or daddy's girls or whatever, and they just want to stay with their mom for freaking ever. I know a girl who went back to college like 4 times because her parents told her as long as she was in college, they would take care of her. They would pretty much pay her bills and all this type of stuff, which is the whole reason why she was in college. She never had a job until I think she was damn near like 30 something. She had never had a job before. Yeah, not even a little part-time job or anything. She was living off student loans. Fucked up situation. Now she's paying like $800 a month back to Sallie Mae, and Sallie Mae is not your friend. I'm saying, especially when you owe them a lot of money. Girl, I owe them like $1,200 more, and them motherfuckers are seriously like stalking me like it ain't nobody's business. So I definitely got to go ahead and get them $1,200 and get them off of my ass. I mean, damn, bitch, I'm paying you. Damn, I only owe you like $1,200 more. You could be a couple days late, they're gonna be ringing your motherfucking phone like, where my coin at, girl? But you most definitely don't want to be one of those people that feel like, okay, just because you're 18, you have to move out on your own now. Now, if you are in a position to where you want to be a little bit more independent, you want to get out on your own, you want to, you know, experience living on your own, nothing wrong with that. But let me tell you the first type of steps that you need to take. First and foremost, you need to have a job. I'm not saying you go get a job today like, okay, I'm gonna go get me an apartment tomorrow. No, you need to have a job, live at home with your parents or whoever that you're living with, live there, save money. I'm pretty sure most parents, okay, most parents, I'm not talking about, some people just got mamas and daddies, okay? Some mamas and dads who really don't give a fuck. They don't give a fuck if you stable enough to get out on your own at 18. They just gonna kick you the fuck out, and they don't give a fuck how you manage, you know. I'm sorry, I don't like that concept. But parents, if you decide that you want to, you know, venture out on your own and things like that, most parents will be happy about that, and they'll, you know, allow you to work and save up your money to be able to move out on your own. You have to pay deposits. You have to pay also you have deposits on the actual apartment. You have to pay deposits to get your utilities and things on. So you definitely want to make sure that you have a job, a stable job, a job that you've had for at least 6 months. Most apartment complexes are not going to rent to you unless you've been employed for X amount of time. You're not going to, most apartments, I didn't say all, most apartments, when you come in and you fill out the application, they're going to ask you how long you've been on your job. They're going to call references, and they're going to do all that stuff. So if you have not been on your job for a certain length of time, they're not going to want to rent to you, simply because they feel like, okay, motherfucker, this person that had their job for 2 weeks, how the fuck do I know that they're going to keep it? How the fuck I know they ain't going to get fired? They need to know that the job is stable. So you have to at least have been on your job for a couple of months. So don't just go and get a little job and then try to go get an apartment. That's the wrong thing to do anyway, in any situation. Also, like I said, make sure that you save up enough money for at least 3 months rent. At least 3 months rent plus bills, okay? Save up enough money for that. Don't move just because you got enough money for your first month rent and your deposit. Now, if it's a necessity and you gotta get out of wherever you at, then yes. But otherwise, do not just go and rent an apartment if all you got is the deposit and the first month rent. Because a lot of times these places have, some of them have month-to-month leases, but most of them are year leases. So if you go and rent an apartment and you lose your job, you're going to have to figure out a way to sublease that apartment or something. Because if you aren't able to sublease it, you're going to be liable for the remainder of that rent. And baby, yeah, they will sue your ass and you will have to pay the remainder of that rent, okay? So do not go and rent an apartment thinking that, okay, if I can't stay, I can just leave. No, you cannot just leave. You can, but you're gonna pay for it in the end, okay? So just think about that as well. So make sure that you save up enough money, at least 3 months rent as well as bills. Have that saved, okay? Now a lot of people ask about roommates and things like that. Okay, let me tell you a little bit about me. I can't speak for nobody else. I can only speak for Thick Chick Blogs, okay? The roommate situation, I've never had a roommate. The only person that I've ever lived with was my sister. You know, and besides the juice man, but the only other person that I've lived with is my sister. And I moved in with her when I first came to this city, and then I found my own apartment. I mean, I'm just not good with roommates. I love things a certain type of way, okay? I love cleanliness. I love quietness. I'm just that type of person. I'm a loner, okay? I'm pretty sure you guys probably already know that because I talk about it all the time. So I will not do good with roommates, especially when I was younger. You know, a lot of people are in college. A lot of people like to party, have people over drinking and all this type of stuff. That's not my stilo. So I would not do good with roommates. So if you decide that you want to have a roommate to be able to save money, you need to make sure that whoever that roommate that you're getting is somebody that you trust. Now, a lot of people get roommates. They've been friends with these people for years, okay? We've been friends since elementary school. As soon as you become roommates, you fall out and you're not friends no fucking more, because sometimes motherfuckers decide that they ain't got their half for the rent this month. You got to cover the rent or y'all finna get kicked out. Motherfuckers want to sit there and go in the refrigerator, eat up your food. They just nasty, all kind of trifling stuff. So be careful with who you decide that you want to be a roommate with, if you decide that you want to have a roommate, because a lot of times people get roommates and they end up falling out. So be careful about that. Me personally, I don't do the roommate thing. I just make sure I find something that I can afford on my own, because I know at the end of the day, bitch, if the rent don't get paid, it's my fault. It ain't nobody else's fault. I ain't gotta be married to nobody but my fucking self. You feel what I'm saying? So just be mindful if you decide that you want to have a roommate, because trust me, just because they're your friend now, when people get to live with you, you don't really, my mama always told me, you don't know no man, woman, or nobody until you done live with them. When you live with people, all their motherfucking true colors come out. You can ask anybody, okay? Ask any woman who's ever been with a guy for X amount of time and then moved in with him. They like, oh, hell no. This ain't gonna, no. This is not gonna work out. You got to fucking go, okay? Your home, wherever you decide to live, it needs to be a place of peace. If you can't have no peace in your own goddamn house, honey, there is a serious problem. There's something wrong in the water. Something got to give. If I can't have peace in my own shit, no. Okay? Somebody got to go, and it ain't gonna be me. So that's why I just make sure I needed to live by myself. I couldn't do the roommate thing, so I needed to make sure I found something feasible for me. Okay? A lot of times you have to have renter's insurance, so you have to think about deposits for renter's insurance. Okay? You got to think about all that stuff. A lot of people also decide when they move out on their own that they got to fully decorate the apartment the very first month they're there. So you done saved up money. So instead of you leaving that money to cover your rent, you decide you want to go and buy all this fancy ass furniture. Bitch, I did it. Okay, let me tell y'all something. I did that shit because I was like, okay, I'm moving out on my own. I want to go and buy all this fancy stuff, try to decorate the apartment, and then sit and spend your fucking savings on decorations for your apartment. No, I understand that you want to decorate it, but you can buy that shit piece by fucking piece. Go get you a couch and a bed, or matter of fact, goddamn, if you can't afford the couch right now, go and get you a bed. As long as you got you a bed, you good. The next month or the next month, you can get you a motherfucking couch. You ain't got to get all that shit at the same time. Little knick-knacky stuff, you're going to build up stuff as you go. So for as far as pictures and things, you can buy pictures for the walls and dishes for the kitchen. You know, periodically. Don't feel like you got to go out and buy all that stuff at one time, because you're going to end up being broke, and you're going to end up wondering why the fuck your rent short and shit, because you trying to decorate them to impress whoever the fuck you trying to impress. So you guys just be mindful of that. So far I have said, make sure that you have a job for at least a couple of months, and you saved up enough money for at least 3 months rent, because you got rent, you got to pay deposits for your utilities, and you got to, have a little little bit of extra money for the bills, because you know a lot of times the bills are going to be a little bit extra the first month because you got to pay deposits and all that type of stuff. So make sure that you do that. Make sure you have to get renter's insurance for most apartments nowadays. Most people are not going to allow you to move into their apartments unless you have renter's insurance. Also, as far as roommates, make sure that it's somebody you trust. And even if it's somebody you trust, just be aware that, hell, at the end of the motherfucking day, if they don't come up with their rent, somebody got to come up with the rent, or y'all finna get kicked the fuck out. Or you're going to be paying these high-ass late fees that it ain't going to be nobody business. That's why I try my best. For the last 4 or 5 years, I've never been late paying my rent, because I just refuse to pay fucking late fees. I just refuse, because a lot of times it's like 10% of your fucking rent. So if your rent is $700, bitch, that's $70 late fee. Plus, they'll say like an additional $5 per day on top of that. So, bitch, ain't nobody got time to be paying that type of money for no fucking late fees. So just make sure that you got your coin in order and all of that good stuff. And be sure that you don't have to go when you do decide to move out on your own. If you've done all those things and you have enough money saved up and you're securing your job and all that stuff, don't feel like you have to go in there and just fully decorate at one time. Just get you a bed, get you some maybe some little storage things or something, somewhere to put your clothes and things, and build up your furniture as you go. Don't feel like you have to get everything at one time, because, you know, granted, that's going to be the logical thing that a person wants to do, because they're going to be like, ooh, I want stuff to be cute. Buy things as you go. You know, some people, even if you're a teenager or whatever, you're moving out on your own, have like a little housewarming thing. Even though you're not moving into a house, you're moving into an apartment. But a lot of people, if you tell them, you know, this is your first time living on your own, a lot of people will give you things like little knick-knacky stuff for you to put in your home. So yeah, those are some tips that I have for you guys. It's not a whole lot, but just be careful when you're moving out on your own. Don't feel like just because you're 18 or you're 19 and you got a little boyfriend that you want to move out on your own, because unless that little nigga finna pay your goddamn rent for you or some shit, yeah, you need to stay where the fuck you at until you get stable enough to be able to take care of everything on your own. So make sure you have a good job. It ain't even gotta be a good, just make sure you have a job to where you can afford the rent. Now, another thing that I would say, this is what I tend to do. I try to make sure whatever my rent is, so if my rent is $1,000, just saying, just throwing some shit out there. If my rent was $1,000, I like to make sure that whatever my rent is, I can pay that out of one of my checks. So I would never, just say for instance, I only get paid $800 a week. I would not, okay, go and get a $1,000 apartment, because that's more than my check is per week. I always make sure that whatever my rent is, I can always pay it out of one check. I never go over that. First rule of thumb. So be sure that whatever you get, make sure it's affordable. Make sure it's something that you can afford, okay? At least out of one of your paychecks. So you don't want to go and get something that's, like I said, $500-600 and your check a week is only $200. That's not going to work. Plus your check has to be at least 3 times the rent anyway in order for people to rent from you. You know what I'm saying? I said rent from you, I meant rent to you. So your check at least has to be 3 times the rent, okay? Because they're not going to rent to you unless it's that anyway. So just be sure whatever you get, you can afford, okay? And it was something else that I wanted to mention. Oh, be sure that you can most definitely, be sure that you most definitely inspect the apartment. If at all costs, please let the people let you inspect the apartment before you move into the actual apartment that you're going to be living in, because a lot of horror stories can happen if you don't. So just be sure that you inspect the apartment, you know, from top to bottom. Take somebody with you that's, you know, done this stuff before. Your mom, your dad, or somebody like that, to where they can, you know, help you decide if it's something that you want to move in or not. Also, find out what's included in the rent. Sometimes apartment complexes pay, you know, the water bill, or sometimes they pay the cable bill or whatever. Just check and see what bills they pay, because you can probably sometimes find cheaper apartments where they pay the water or something like that, or maybe the cable bill. So, yeah, that's the little advice that I wanted to give to people who are moving out on their own for the first time. I hope this helps some of you guys. Just be careful, do your research, save up you a good little amount of money. Don't feel like you have to move out just because you're, you know, 18 and you feel like you're grown and you got a little boyfriend. Think things over, okay? Think things over, and I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Bye.